Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's card I'm going to use the Mama Elephant Flower Shower stamp set, as well as the Peekaboo backdrop from Lawn Fawn. This is a very cool interactive die, but I am using just the frame, if you like, so none of the insert pieces that you can use to cut little windows and things out. And what I've done is I've stamped all the images that I want, which is pretty much all the images, and I've put them onto some Nina 80-pound cardstock and used my Copic markers or your alcohol markers to colour them in. I used my Scan and Cut to cut them out, but if you have the dies, then obviously use those. So I have cut 4 of the Peekaboo backdrop dies to layer on top of each other. I thought about doing like adding some foam like strips to the back of the, or foam pads to the back of the frame and the backdrop, but I wanted this to be quite solid, so this is just another way that you can still get that depth that you might need if you want to sort of look like things are sort of inside something. And then this is a good way to do that. So for the first layer, I'm keeping all the insert pieces that it actually die cuts, so those little blocks, if you like, and then I cut out the frame another 3 times, so that and I'm only using the frame for the last 3. So the little blocks will create like a little backdrop for my images, instead of it going straight onto the back of the card, which I could have done. I could have done that as well. And then I am going to take some very thin, strong adhesive. This happens to be Lawn Fawn's 1/8 inch double-sided tape. It is pretty strong. If I was making a box, I would use my red liner tape instead, because it's just that little bit more strong. That's not even English, but you know what I mean. It's stronger, even more so than this, but this is pretty good. I like this tape. It's a really good quality tape and very easy to get the backing off, which I sometimes struggle with. So I'm layering on, I've layered the first, like the backdrop, if you like, with all of the pieces, and then I'm just adding some tape, you saw, just to the frame, so that I can just stick the next few layers straight on top of the one before. That made any sense. And by doing this, it creates not only the depth that I wanted, but it also gives it like the depth into each of those little sections, but it also creates a bit of height. So this is quite a nice thing to do if you don't want to faff, or you have a very tiny scripty kind of word die, or you know, something really delicate. Then this is an easier way to get that depth or that height, rather than trying to use a tiny piece of foam tape. And again, if you've got something that's really delicate, then by adding just 3 or 4 layers, it creates that sturdiness that you need with something that delicate. If you have words, you know, or sentiment, that kind of thing, or letters that are sort of delicate, and you're doing this sort of, you know, you're creating that depth with layers of cardstock, I would suggest using a wet adhesive, because it'll give you a little bit of wiggle room to be able to get those any delicate edges into place. So I hope that was helpful. So I'm still sticking and I'm just going to get the last one on, I think it's the last one, in place. And again, the 1/8 inch tape works perfectly with this frame, this size frame, on the backdrop die. So last piece, a couple bits of tape, and then I'll stick that last one. And actually it was a lot easier to put down than I first thought, because I thought it might be a little flimsy, but it's very easy. And you can also use wet adhesive if you want to do this with a wet adhesive instead. And again, that'll give you a bit more wiggle room. But you can see there's a bit of depth into each of those little windows, if you like. So I used a bone folder just to burnish them. Just helps to really bond each layer to itself. The next thing I'm going to do is put my sentiment on, because I don't want to have to put my sentiment on when I've got all those layers of everything else that I'm going to have in there. So it's just easier to get your sentiment in place if you have sort of planned ahead, which I kind of have to because I'm doing videos. But if you're, you know, think about if you're going to add something to a card front, you know, an image or your main image, and it's possibly going to be in the way of where you want your sentiment, and you're stamping that sentiment straight down onto the bit that's behind that image, just stamp your sentiment first, and then you should be good to go. So I kind of had an idea anyway, so although I kind of fiddle with this a little bit until I get them where I want them, and I used, when I put the foam tape on the back, I'm also making sure that the edges of the image are not going to where the foam is on the back of the image is not going to interfere with the edge of the little window, because we've obviously got the depth of the window from all the layers of cardstock now. So the foam helps to raise the image up, but it's kind of flat and flush with the top layer, if that made any sense. So I am now going to put all these little images in. I've got my cat in the bottom right hand window. I'm going to call them windows. And the top right hand one I decided was good for the little bunny. I thought that's such a cute bunny. But I also wanted to put these little tortoises in there as well. So the water, which is also, all of these come from the stamp set. The water I have put flat against the inside of the little window, and then I've put some foam tape that isn't as high as the main images, and put that onto the little tortoise. So by the time it's all stuck together, this little mini scene, if you like, the bunny is going to be the highest, then you've got the little tortoise, and then you've got the backdrop of the little patch of water. This is just a very simple way of doing something like this. They're not really scenes like I normally do, but I thought it was just a cute way. One, so I could play with this stamp set, because it's not a new stamp set. I have a feeling this came out last year, but I do really love it. I just think it's so sweet. It's like they're using the little flowers or big flowers as umbrellas. So I just think it's so sweet. So I've wanted to use it since I got it maybe a month or so back. So I thought it was quite sweet. So it's more maybe a spring card, or towards that kind of season rather than a summer, because technically we're in the middle of summer from where I am. But I'm already, if you've seen on my channel, I've already started on my Christmas and my Halloween stuff. So I thought, well, let's just chuck a spring one in there too. Why not? But I don't think it matters what time of year. But I think that is the idea. I think it was more a spring themed stamp set. But I just think it's so cute. I love the chick with the leaf. It's just hysterical. And I love Mama Elephant's images. I think there's a couple different designers, but the ones that draw these designs, I don't know the name of the artist who does these, but I love it. Like, I'm really fussy about things like that, and these are just so cute. I have to have them all. Yeah, might need a bigger craft room. Anyway, so I'm sticking some more foam tape and foam tape, foam dots, foam, you know what I mean, foam, 3D foam stuff, on the back of, again, another little tortoise. I kind of did the same kind of thing in each block, sort of, window, whatever I'm calling it, but I like how it turned out. I just think it's quite sweet, and it's just a bit of fun. So, and very simple. Like, this is not, there's nothing testing about this. There's nothing too difficult. We've stamped, coloured and cut out some images. We've then die cut one die 4 times to get something a little bit different. Those blocks in the background, so the pieces are cut out of each window, you could ink those so that you've got some color in the background if you wanted that. I wanted this to be very, very simple. So easy to do, very easy to do. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and rain or shine, it's going to be a beautiful day. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.